This is the Constructionist Podcast, where we take ancient stories, the person of Jesus, current events and topics, and help you construct a new Christian worldview that's relevant and loving to those around you. I'm your host, Kevin Bates. I'm a semiotician and community builder, looking at the signs of the times to build a better future together. Constructionist Podcast. My name is Kevin Bates, and if you are joining us online, welcome. So grateful that you are here, and we are with a live audience this morning. Today's topic is on scams and fraud. Scams and fraud. Living in a world of scams and fraud, what to do about it. I'm going to talk about the psychology of it, and Jake is going to talk about the actual scams and fraud, and then Sharia is going to give us some lessons to learn and some things to do to try to clean up our scams and fraud in our life. I think that this is an important topic, along with all of our topics I think are important. And so if you're interested in more of what we do, you can go to our app, Resonate Christian Church, on the stores on your device, or you can go to our website, resonatechristian.church. There you can look at who we are and what we offer, and also our archive of materials. So for those of you who join us live, like you are sitting here today, we have next week is our brunch that is live in this building. The following week is our Lumina Talks live in this building. And the next conversation this month, we're doing Bruce Arnold will be joining us, doing a topic on houselessness and engaging in our houseless communities and the progress of what we have done with houselessness in our state. So I'm really excited to bring him. This month is kind of a kitchen sink of topics. So we don't really have a seamless theme through the month. So we're coming up with a new topic for Lumina Talks, and then the houseless topic at the end of the month. But then today we're talking about scams and fraud.
Do you want to give a precursor of what we have scheduled coming up for Sanctuary Sundays?
Yeah, we could. I don't have that list in front of me though. If you do, well, let's do that at the end. We can do that at the end. How about if we do that at the end so that we can get prepared for that since we're live? Scams and fraud. I think it's an important topic to train ourselves, but also to notify and to build ourselves with some tools in a faith community like we are when it comes to scams and fraud. Just so you know, I've been in the church world for a very long time now. And in the church world, because of who we are, and we believe in the mystery of things, right? That tends to lend itself to mysterious conversations, but conversations that are, well, I would say otherworldly or spiritual, that sometimes leaves us vulnerable. It depends on how far in the weeds we get with that discussion. But it leads us to vulnerability when it comes to being tricked or believing things that we wouldn't normally believe in, or we fall in line with a leader that's teaching a certain subject, and all of a sudden 5 years later we're like, well, that wasn't true, or that's not real, or who came up with that? That happened in the 90s with the Left Behind series. If you remember all the hype about the Left Behind series, everybody was talking about being the shoes on the ground and the cars being empty, and it was just based on somebody writing a book on what they call premillennialist theology. And so that's what we were into. That's what people talked about. That's what people attached to even things of importance, that you had to believe a certain way. So then when all of it came out of where that Darbyism came from and how it was kind of all made up, and why did we even believe that? Why did we go there? And so it leaves us vulnerable as a faith community, I think, to also scams and fraud, where we can be scammed into different ways. But I think more importantly is everybody can be scammed and everybody can fall into a fraud. And at some point, maybe Maybe someone you know or you personally have fallen into that trap and been targeted by a scam. You've been targeted by feeling convinced of something that was true, and you followed it down the path. And it maybe some point you were lucky enough or wise enough or just aware enough at the moment that you said, no, that's not the right direction. And if your first thought of this conversation is, that's not going to happen to me, you have opened up yourself to a dangerous starting place, because it can happen to the most rich and the most poor, the most smart and can I say, just the most ignorant. So today isn't about making ourselves feel foolish. Today is about just raising our awareness of scams and fraud. Now, why are we bringing this up? Because I have a family member that in August lost a lot of money due to a scam. I mean, to most of us, $76,000 would be a large amount of money. And so I had a family member. I also had another family member almost wrap a bunch of money in tinfoil and put it into an envelope and put it into the mailbox. And we're sitting there going, what? Are you kidding me? Yes. And these people are not dumb. They're not ignorant. They are wise in their own ways, but also that they were capable and they got caught in this conversation. And most of the conversation is an internal narrative. It's not the external narrative. It's the internal narrative that we're already having in our brain that possibly is just riddled with fear, riddled with anxiety, riddled with where is the world going? When we're having that internal dialogue all the time in our heads, and then somebody taps into that and they speak to that, we are vulnerable at that point. And we, folks, we are all right there. I think we're vulnerable right now just in the country we live in and what's going on in our country and that internal dialogue that's happening. We are vulnerable to scams and fraud. So scammers don't hack computers. They don't hack your phone. They hack your emotions first. And if we could just keep that in mind, number one is scammers don't necessarily hack your computer, your email, or your phone number, or your information. They're hacking your emotions. And what they do and what they say and how they operate is on an emotional basis first. So if we have that myth inside of us that we're vulnerable with that myth, I would never fall for that. That's one of the biggest lies I think that we can tell ourselves. I'm too smart for that. That's for old people. That's not for me. That's for people who don't understand technology. I understand technology. No, honestly, it's for everyone. And they don't target intelligence. They target emotions. They don't target how much you know about computers. They target everything that's going on emotionally. So in those moments, they wait. And I have an example that I'm going to tell you about here in a few minutes. They wait for when you're too tired. They wait for when you're too rushed and in a hurry. They can follow patterns of algorithms of what you're looking at on your computer or your phone. When you're grieving and you have to sign paperwork and work with estate planning issues and stuff like that, they wait for those moments when you're scared, when you're lonely, and they come in and, quote, try to be helpful to you. And so scammers prefer, I think, competent people. Competent people have money in their banks. And so competent people have liquid cash usually. And so they wait for those. They wait for people with jobs. They like people with relationships. They like people with responsibility. They don't like people that are irresponsible, that have no cash in the bank, no relationships that they have, disenfranchised from everybody around them, completely broke. And honestly, they wait for people that like to solve problems quickly. Or people that have to solve problems quickly. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's get on the ball, right? It's that kind of thing. So scammers don't need you to be clueless. They need you to be 100% human. And in our busy lives, and when we're just rushed and we're trying to do things and get stuff done, and there's deadlines to be had, we have that urgency, act now, not later type of mentality. So urgency, I think, is one of the scammers' favorite tools. When they're urgent on the phone, they call you on the phone. Have you received a call? I've received a call. I received a call yesterday. It was an AI call telling me, I can't remember what name they used. It was like Bruce or Bob or something like that. Hey, Bob, it's Kevin. You know, they like mixed up the names and used my name as their name. And I thought that was really, honestly creative, because what that did was it made me think, oh, they're using my name instead of like, hey, Kevin, it's Bob, right? Well, how about if you were just too tired or too rushed or whatever, and you didn't pick that up and you thought, oh, they know my name. And then you followed that phone call down. So the message that says your account is being locked. This is the IRS. This is the federal government. I want you to know first and foremost
that Social Security number has been locked.
Yeah, your Social Security number has been locked. Just so you know, the IRS never, ever contacts you via email or your phone, texting or calls. Never. You can call them. They will never contact you.
Is that because the computers from 85?
Well, the computers are from 1980, but
so they
also
can't physically
email you. But honestly, they do everything snail mail, everything. And so if you do not receive a snail mail with the federal government stamp, IRS stamp on it, so the final notice on the call, right? The bank calling you, right? Banks don't call you. They might send you a text when you request a text, or your account is being, not compromised, but an account by an unknown device, right? They'll send you that email.
I'll say that usually banks don't call you.
Usually banks don't call you, yeah. Immediate action is required, that kind of stuff. What that does is it shuts down your curiosity. So the psychology of scams is they try to get you to shut down your questioning or shut down your curiosity. And when an urgency is happening, it shuts down our questions in our brain. Oh, I got to act, and so we start to act. When we feel rushed, our brain switches. So our executive function almost shuts down in a sense, where we stop asking, is this real? Does this make sense? Is this for me? Is this the right way? What organization would contact me this way? Urgency says I don't have time to think about those things. I have to just act in my almost like my animalistic, like fight or flight type of behavior. So that's the trick. Real institutions don't function off of panic. So real institutions don't call you on the phone saying you have 30 minutes. We used to get the call at Symposium, phone call, when we had those old hard lines, those things that you plugged into the wall and then you picked up the phone and you had a cord. Remember that? I remember, the dials. Remember the dials, right? We never had one of those at Symposium, but I remember the dials. I also remember party lines, which is dating me even farther. But anyway, real institutions do not operate off of panic. We used to get a call at the Sherwood store, Sherwood Symposium, and they used to say your power is being shut off in 45 minutes unless you pay your bill.
Our staff would call us
and
freaking
our staff would call us freaking out. We received this call. The power is being shut off.
Why aren't you paying your bills?
Right. So banks, power companies, real organizations do not operate off of threatening texts. Again, the IRS does not contact you demanding things from you. Legitimate systems allow for time of decision making, and that could be your powers being shut off in 20 days or 15 days or 7 days, but it's not on urgency.
But there's pathways out.
Yeah, there's pathways always out. So scammers build off of authority too. They tap into our authority emotion. A pastor, a school, This is tech support. I'm your even family member. That's the new AI thing. Hey, it's your cousin, Bob, right? They tap into that authority. And why does this work? Because most people from a young age, I was always told that to respect authority. I never questioned authority, right? Authorities were important people in my life. And so when somebody calls, texts, or emails from an authority, that taps into that childhood emotion. I should respect this, right? I should not question that. So when somebody looks official, I would say if somebody walks up to your anymore, for those of you who have a permanent like purchased house, if somebody walks up to your door and they're just some person with an iPad, right? And they're offering you a deal, I would refuse the deal. I wouldn't talk to them. I would say, no, thank you. Or you can email me. We can talk about it. Send me your packet of information and I'll think about it. But if somebody has a company that's actually willing to approach your door in this day and age, approach your door selling you a deal like a
new roof
panel system for your house, right? If something is happening like that, we need to really question. Now, a lot of those things are legitimate. They can be. Yet, sure. I think in this day and age, it's just not worth the risk of doing something like that. I know somebody
and you talk about the pause. So yeah. If it is legitimate, you take the pause.
Correct.
You do your own research and you go back.
I know somebody
it's the pause
that said yes to the solar panels. The guy walked up to the house, had a legitimate offer, said yes to the solar panels. They installed the solar panels. They got all that they paid for, but it was a company that was a hack that went out of business in 3 months and punched holes in their roof. Mold grew in their attic all the way the top story. And now they don't have insurance because it was a voluntary purchase. Their insurance is not covering it, and the business is out of business. Guess who's paying the $200,000 to replace all of that roof and all of that mold mitigation?
Sheetrock, all the way down to studs.
Yeah, she's been sick for a year. So when it looks official, it possibly is not official. So we need to move into that safe mode. So good people, here's the uncomfortable truth. Good people are often easier to manipulate because they've been trained to cooperate
and trust.
Yes. So authority says people like you don't ask questions, you help, and scammers rely on that kind of information. So now we have the authority, the fear of authority, but we also have the fear of scarcity. Something bad is going to happen. So this is all the psychology of what they're working on, tapping into those emotions, right? Fear says you're in danger. Fear says you might lose something. You might lose everything. You've done something wrong, so you need to correct it. Scarcity says this is your only chance to fix it. I have no time to verify it. I need to do it now. I'll regret waiting. It's almost like the slot machine. If I just put $5 more in and pull the handle, the progressive slot I will win, right? So the tyranny of the urgent. So we create then together with the scammer, we create tunnel vision that there's only one answer. The tunnel vision comes and we start making decisions. So actually fear and scarcity actually narrows our field of vision. It actually does. Psychologically, fear narrows our options. And it's that fight or flight mechanism where we have to fight it or flee it. And the fight or the flee is not the scammer. The fight or the flee is the emotional issue that they've put in front of you that you're trying to run from. So we just want that feeling to stop. So we'll make decisions to get it to stop. So click this, send this, reply to this now, right? And we have to do it now. How about the relational trust trick, right? We have a relational trust trick where it's somebody powerful. Relationships, scams sound very official. They sound very familiar. I know somebody that they copied They called the daughter. This is a real story. They called the daughter. They recorded the daughter's voice on AI. They replaced that and manufactured a voice on AI that basically said, Dad, I've been captured. I've been held hostage and they want $10,000. They gathered the $10,000 and they walked down and handed to somebody in a parking lot. And the daughter was at home the whole time, right? And so
they never called her.
They never even like cross-check. Why? Narrow vision. They would have texted or called or, reached out. Hey, are you okay? Like I got this call. And so they were just scared. So they didn't take the steps and their vision was narrowed. The scam, hey mom, I broke my phone. Hey mom, can you help me really quick? Don't tell anybody. I'm embarrassed about what happened. If you're receiving calls like that, they're all fake, but they use what's called trust bypass suspicion, right? Trust bypass suspicion. So you're bypassing your normal routes of relational checks. You're bypassing all of that. So I'm waiting for the scammer to call me that my dad is fallen, right? Because he lives 9 hours away. My dad has fallen or whatever. So in these relational, emotional scams, we don't act analytically. We act reactively. We don't act analytically. So no one needs access to your bank account. Ever. No one needs access to your social security number ever, unless it's an official bank trying to get into an account. What they're trying to do is get into your relational reflexes, and they're trying to tap into that. So I think that life circumstances do matter more than IQ and your intelligence. In times of grief, divorce, immigration stress, like immigration stress, financial pressure. My stepdad dies October 10th. Between October 10th and December 31st, I kid you not, 50. I mean, how sick is this? You're going to call me and scam me 50 different times about Greg. You're going to try to get me to sign paperwork. And I know this is a difficult time and we're here to help you. 50 times? I mean, it's just crazy. So I think that they do tap into some real sickness. So I think that being fooled, we sometimes get ourselves alone or grieving or really stressed out. And just because of grief, fear, stress, anger, hurt, whatever we're experiencing, that makes us alone. It makes us alone in our heads. It makes us alone physically. We're just alone in those moments. And so they don't want you to talk to people. They don't want you to talk to spouse or friend or call the bank directly. We can handle this directly. They don't want us to sleep on it. And I think that aloneness helps us make really, really poor decisions. So I would say that healthy skepticism is important. Healthy, not being skeptical about everything, right? Skeptical about Sheree and Jake. I think being skeptical about everything.
Let's change it to inquisitive.
I think, yeah. I mean, inquisitive would be healthy skepticism, where we look at something. Let me check with somebody. Let me run this by someone else. I'm going to hang up and I'll call you back. Why don't we just do a double check here? And I'm going to hang up and I'm going to call you back. And if you answer, that'll never happen because they're not even in this country. Well, they are in Oregon, actually down in Roseburg. But many of them are not in this country and in this country. So this feels urgent, and that's a red flag to me. So I'm going to pause. Sharia told me, well, why don't we just...
Our boundary phrase.
Our boundary phrase. Well, that's an odd thing to say out loud. So why don't we just use that's an odd thing to say out loud. So I think if we're honest, our goal isn't to just here's how to never be scammed from this discussion. That's unrealistic. I think the goal is if this ever happens, you're not stupid. You don't have to handle it alone, but let's not handle it alone from the beginning, right? From the very first call. Hey, call somebody. I received this call. It sounds really legitimate, but it's weird. I got this email. What do I do with this? So we need a culture. We really do need a culture that practices pause. Second opinions are normal. Let me get a third opinion, which is even more normal. Asking for help is not embarrassing, right? It's not embarrassing. Slowing down and seeking wisdom is not weakness. It is what we do. That's the kind of culture that we need, because scammers, honestly, they don't win by being smarter than you. They win by tapping into those emotions and getting you isolated. So here's my political talk. Little caveat. And I can be serious with you. Really serious. Our current state of affairs that we have in our country, we have very poor leadership. Very poor. And if you disagree with me, just agree with me.
Just don't.
Be skeptical.
Yeah. We have extremely poor leadership happening in our country. There is an inability at the highest levels to communicate effectively. An inability to communicate clearly. Things that are spoken are completely reckless. Completely reckless. Somebody asked me yesterday, please help me with the state of affairs that are happening right now. And so I gave them my opinion of the state of affairs that are happening. And I didn't give them any opinion of whether we should be or shouldn't be doing something. What I gave them is the way things are spoken and communicated so unclearly and recklessly create an environment of noise. And then we are stuck as humans walking on this planet in this United States. We are left to filter through all of this noise. Tremendous amounts of noise. And depending on how much you spend on the socials, depends on really how much more noise you're actually engaged in. And when things are unclear, spoken very irresponsibly and downright reckless, right? To be able to sift through that, to find out the meanings, to find out the intentions, to find out whether it's good, bad, whether it's, moral, immoral, ethical, unethical, and you're sitting there going, where are we at? And somebody's up on stage making fun of people and deflecting and pointing and all this that's happening. That creates so much noise in your brain. I can guarantee you that we are all vulnerable to scams. The scamming is ripe right now for people to call you on the phone, to tap into those fears and that oh my gosh, the world is coming to an end. When you have that much noise, it breeds. This is your friend and pastor and leader in this community begging, right? This breeds conspiracy theories. It breeds all kinds of conspiracy thinking. And if you are saying, well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Well, okay, recheck that, please, in your head. We're all trapped in some sense of conspiracy thinking at some level. Why? Because we're not receiving intelligence that other people are receiving. We're receiving news fodder. We're receiving socials fodder. Some of it's true, some of it's not true, some of it's real, some of it's fake. We are vulnerable to scams and conspiracy theories. So I just want to send that warning out that we desperately need to change the internal script that's going on in our head, right? I do not at all support the talk or the fodder that's coming at us in any way, shape, or form. I think that it's a level of reckless and irresponsibility that I've never seen in my lifetime. And it hurts to hear. I ache for people that are dying on the ground, starving to death. It's awful what is happening in our world. But that does not mean that we need to engage in even the discussion of test-creo practices. Look it up. We don't need to discuss, even have those discussions of what the rich of the richest and the most powerful, the powerful are doing at a conspiracy level. Truth needs to be truth. Grounded needs to be grounded. And what that takes is for us to speak truths to ourselves and also to practice a new internal script, which takes a lot of mindfulness, I think, right now. We need to be mindful. So I'm gonna give you an internal script that maybe you can carry with you. The more noise you feel, or the more fodder that's in your head about certain things, the message that needs to be created in our head is not urgency, fear, pressure, or secrecy. It's strong emotions require slow decisions. Even when you speak, even when you type, strong emotions require slow decisions. That one sentence will usurp any scammer or anything that's being thrown your way. Strong emotions require slow decisions. I was helping Amanda fill something out for our business. And it was a requirement. It was pressure, pressure, pressure. Got to get this done by this date. I was calling my brother. My brother is this highfalutin accountant for a big hotel chain. He should know better, right? I mean, he's a powerful person in his business. You know, one of those guys that flies all over the place and, you know, is 2 weeks in Hawaii and 2 weeks in Denver and 2 weeks in here and 2 weeks there, flying everywhere doing his work. He is a smart person, very smart. He can do math in his head, large scale numbers and math problems in his head, like none other, right? It's embarrassing to me. I can't even, multiply this by this.
He embarrasses you about that?
He embarrasses me about that. So Amanda and I are filling out this form. Call my brother, and he's like, yeah, fill out the form. You have to do it by this date. Pressure from the government, pressure, deadline, have to do this. So we fill out the form. Amanda's sitting there on this website. We're filling out the form. And we literally gave our entire family's identity with our passport numbers and social security numbers to a scammer in 5 minutes. Because the legitimate website, that was not the legitimate website. It was a website that ended up on the top search when you were searching in Google. Fill out this website first.
Looks super official.
Super official. Copied all the stamps and everything. If the website does not say .gov, it's not a real website.
And even then, please.
And even then. My father, Dad, I'm sorry this happened to you, if you're listening. My dad was called. He receives then an email backup. The scammer then says you have to put $33,000 in an envelope, cash, wrap it in tinfoil, and put it in an envelope and set it in the post office. My dad is an accountant. He knows numbers. He's older. His mind is failing a little bit. So they tap into his emotions.
Hope he's not listening now.
Hopefully he's not listening. They tap into his emotions. They get him to go down to his bank. Online first, move $33,000 over to another account. So then he moves it over to another account, his own account. He then gives them the number so that they can check the balance. They can't withdraw it. They can check the balance. So he gives them the number. They check the balance. They said, now go down and withdraw $33,000. You're going to wrap it up in a tinfoil and put it in an envelope and send it in the mail. Otherwise, ... is going to happen. So he gets scared, doesn't tell anybody. He goes down to the bank. He withdraws $33,000 and he wraps it up in tinfoil. And now he's at the post office. And the postman looks at him and says, Fred, I'm not going to send that for you. And he's like, why? And he's like, I know exactly what's happening to you right now. You need to walk away. Now, Postman can't do that, right? But he said, I'm not going to do this because there's nothing illegal in there. He's willfully giving money. And he said, I'm not going to do this. You need to walk away from the counter right now. We never had this discussion.
I don't legally, you can't send cash like that. That's why.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's why I was wrapped in foil, so they couldn't scan it.
So they couldn't scan it. See, the scam is even confusing. I have another family member that was called, and she falls into the scam of this. We have tapped into your phone. This is the FBI, and we're listening to everything that you're doing. That, number one, that's impossible. Or it's possible, but it's not.
You're not that important.
You're not that important. So we're listening to everything. You're not going to talk to anybody. You're going to withdraw $76,000, and you're going to take it down to a Bitcoin depository, and you're going to put it on this account. And so she sells her retirement stocks, withdraws all the cash that she has in the bank, and willfully walks down to a Bitcoin depository and deposits all this money with the spouse. Together, making this decision together. So that was all of her savings. That's all she had. So if you could imagine, like this is, so she came and visited. We were sitting there with her. She said nothing because she was afraid that they were following her and they were listening to all of our discussions. Now, 2 of those people out of the 3 believe in conspiracy theories. And they have the conspiracy mindset. Easily trapped.
You told 2 stories. They're both.
Yeah, I told 3 stories.
2 or 3?
Amanda and I are not conspiracy theorists.
Got it. I'll go back to that one.
And honestly, we were trapped in just a non-legitimate website, which was very easy. Now, we also have safeguards around certain things that helped us definitely shut everything down, and they can't steal our identity. And that's something that Sharia can talk to us about later. But I just want to give those 3 stories. This is real stuff. You're talking $110,000. 33 of that almost gone, 76 gone. And it can happen to anybody. And it's because of the psychology of scams. It's not the intellectual scam. So let's take a break and go over these 3 questions.
let's come back together. I'm gonna turn my picture off behind me here quick here. Can we give a short reason why we're talking about this again? Like, why are we talking about scam and fraud in January?
I don't have that answer. What is your answer? I have my own,
well, give your own answer after we talked about the emotions behind it and psychology.
Well, I think that scams and fraud in January is probably really prominent because we're all tired from the holidays. We're coming off of the holidays and we've had all of this emotion, let's say, around the holidays and things. Now we owe money, maybe if you charged your Christmas. So those are all due in February. So January is also a dark month. So for a lot of people with seasonal depressive disorder that we, tend to, go inward or internal with dark months. And so depression is really a prevalent issue. I would say economically, January and February are always really bad months economically. And so that creates emotion inside. We don't have any money to spend. We can't do certain things that we would normally do. But also personally, this just happened to my family in August. So I think
you found out about it.
Oh, I found out 2 weeks or
last week,
a week ago, that this actually happened. So that's one of the reasons why I felt it was at least urgent to discuss it. What to do about it, as each individual personally, whether that's affecting you or not, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, here's a scam for you. Did you know that somebody can file your taxes before you? Didn't know that until about 5 years ago. Somebody can actually file your taxes if they have your Social Security number. They can file your taxes before you do and get your refund before you do. And that's a fraud. Then you fill out your taxes by April 15th. You're like the good person going, okay, and you get on
October 15th.
Okay. Yeah, whatever your extension is. And you get your taxes in and you think you're on time. And then you get the letter in the mail, not on email or text. You'll get the letter in the mail saying your taxes have already been filed. If you get that letter, you've been scammed. Now, there's safeguards around that with the feds, but you have been scammed because people can file your taxes before you do.
It would be nice if someone did mine before me.
And pay my tax bill? Absolutely.
Yes,
you can pay the tax bill too. Take my tax.
Go ahead. So I want to start out with I'm talking about,
why are you talking about it in January?
As we look into the year of health, I think this is a big emotional piece. And scam and fraud is just not fiscal. It's also emotional, informational. And so as we consume information on social media or news, what we're asking for is to pause and double check. And so that works in all news sources as well. I think one of the main reasons why our society has gone the way it has through social media is people get this information in a soundbite, and then they don't take that and research it one more step. Just Google it one more time and to see if that's real or not. And so you have all this misinformation out there all the time. That's
probably one of the greatest ways we are being scammed right now is with news cycles and sound bites and stuff. Oh, believe this, and they scam you into just believing something. I would say the philosophy, if it's cycled off the news and you're still reading about it, it's probably true. But it's cycled off the news, and now it's just in the background where, Gaza's still happening. Right? But it's kind of cycled off the news, and you have to look for what's happening in Gaza. So, or the Ukraine or whatever it is, right? These things are still happening, but it's not on the forefront.
Yeah. So just the double check. We need to pause and just know we need to take urgency away and take a pause and a breath. The breath is the most important part in emotions, communication, financially, everything about it, if we just take that moment of pause. I want to talk about 4 scams that if I think back, the real scams that I have been a part of or have been relationally with. The first one was probably 14 years ago. The lady who designed the front patio of our shop before the tree fell. And so that was a big, if you remember the tree, before the tree fell.
In front of Symposium.
Yeah, in front of Symposium Sherwood. So the landscape architect that did that for us, she was on a vacation to Mexico. People found out when she would be on the airplane coming back. They found out who her grandparents were, and they called them while she was in the air. And it was in the time that you didn't have Wi-Fi on airplanes.
Couldn't connect.
So you couldn't connect to it. So she was up there in the sky without any double checks that they could do. And they were trying to call her, but they knew that she couldn't be they couldn't get a hold of her. It said that she was in a Mexican prison and that they need to wire this money or else she'll be moved around. They'll never find her again. They went out and paid it. It was like $25,000, I think. And that was 15 years ago ish. And so that was the first time I really like, wow, they're smart. One time for us, one of the 3 of us, Kevin or Amanda or myself, put our card into a gas pump and pulled it out. Probably is what happened, because our numbers were then taken to the Fred Meyer in Tigard, and $7,000 of the furniture was purchased. That was a long time ago. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So there was another reader on top of the other reader, which probably happened, and it just took all of our information out. Whoever input that information in Fred Meyer is a different question. Beth, her boss, a phishing email asking for gift cards, and they mimicked the boss's email so closely that you had to actually sit there and stop and like, why is this person asking me this? So I look at the email and it's 1 letter off. And so they were asking for gift cards, do it now, send them this address. And so it's the urgency, but also the force of doing that from a position in power. And I also think about, like, I've sold a lot of things on Craigslist, and Craigslist ads are scams ads too, but scams are very funny to me, because you'll sit there with real checks. And so you'll deposit a check in your account, and then they'll ask for their money back, and then that check actually bounces later on. And so it's not a totally real check, but there's an account attached to it that if you ever get a check on Craigslist, don't do it. I've never been scammed before with that, but there's real checks in your hand, so everything feels super real. Or the Google identification code. If anyone asks you for your Google code or any type of code, never give it. That's a common scam as well. Especially,
can I include my Louis Vuitton purchase and my Rolex?
You totally can talk about your.
So there was one time I purchased a Louis Vuitton bag.
It's a couple months ago
for $18,000 and a Rolex for $25,000. Never saw them. I wasn't at the store, but what a thief will do now is if your wallet is stolen, they'll take 1 or 2 credit cards out and leave the rest, or take 1 credit card out
usually
and
in
leave
the back.
The rest. And so that won't clue you in. My wallet's gone, right? Or my credit cards are gone.
I misplaced my credit card.
It's 1 credit card. So I didn't know until Amanda and I were out to dinner the following night, right? Where we're out to dinner and I can't find my credit card. Well, somebody had broken into his truck. My wallet was sitting there.
It was unlocked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, wallet was sitting there. And that happened right over here on 2nd Street. Somebody walked in, took 2 credit cards out, and went downtown Portland and purchased a Louis Vuitton bag and a Rolex. And now that was, fraud, and I could make a claim on my credit card and it was all taken care of. But the lady on the phone was adamant. She says, I need you to go to your wallet and I need you to actually look at the credit cards. Do you have the physical card on you? And I said, well, I do have the physical card on me, right? And I went down, and it was one of the credit cards in the back of my wallet was taken and charged. So I didn't have the physical card on me. It was stolen.
So all that said, scams are not always somewhere else. They're also right here.
Yes.
And so you might not be vulnerable to the phone calls, but you could be vulnerable to something else if you're not adamantly paying attention. If you're fast, if you're just putting your card in, if you don't know what's totally happening. Old examples of how scams used to work. Who remembers the Nigerian prince emails?
Yep.
Do you know the logic behind that? Is they put obvious misspellings and grammatical errors in that, so more uneducated people would click on it, so that was their believability rate. They intentionally put in misspellings so they could weed out people that would question them.
I know somebody that withdrew $5,000 or $10,000 and flew to Paris. Actually flew to Paris to give the money. Years ago.
They were in Paris.
The good news is they were in Paris.
Yeah.
IRS robocalls threatening arrest. No one's arresting you for taxes, I'm sure. They worked because of volume. And so the amount of volume that was being put in out, but also, and we said it before, like the disposition of believing in conspiracy theories that you are actually Nigerian prince, even though you were a white from Texas. I'm sorry, that's not coming for you. And so people had to suspend believability, and they did that by intentionally putting in mistakes.
Wow.
So examples of AI. We have artificial intelligence now, which is making scamming super scary. And a lot of it has to do with voice, email, has to do with even LinkedIn is a big one right now with scam. How they do it is they aggregate all of your information on your social media, all of your social media profiles, what you're looking at, what you're reposting, where you live, maybe even where you bank at, who you pay your taxes through, who files them for you for public information that you have out there. And then they create really personal emails directed at you that someone has never even read. Like a person is not writing this email, this algorithm is writing it for them. And so it looks believable, it looks real, it has your own language in it. And so spotting those are a lot more difficult. But also you have the idea of cloning scams. And so a 1 to 3 minute phone call, if you pick up the phone and actually talk to a scammer, a 1 to 3 minute phone call will match your entire voice. And so then they can use that later on to target somebody else, possibly in your family. And so
there is a way to turn off your phone to all calls that are not in your contact list. So if you have your contact list, they can get through on your contact list, but all other calls just go directly to voicemail. So you can set up your phone that way.
My calls, if they're not on, I never answer the phone anyways, so I'm sorry, everybody. Bill, everybody else. So yes, for you, I guess. Yeah. Well, I'm not always the ambulance driver for everybody else. But so if someone calls me outside of my contact information, there is a screening on iPhone now that has to state their name and purpose of calling. If it is a robocall, it cannot get through that. And so do set up those safeguards on your phone. Those are important, that you're not actually giving your voice out, because that is your information, just like your social security number, just like your bank account. If you don't know the number, let them leave a voicemail. If they want to get a hold of you, let them leave a voicemail, because if they actually have a reason for calling, they will. Correct?
Yep.
There also is the company called Barkphone for children or people under 18 that I recommend to all children under 18 now, that has all those safeguards on them. So robocalls can't get through. There's more controls on the phone for nefarious purposes, like just making sure that they're protected. So anybody under 18 can get certain devices that are, and I would not recommend putting an iPhone in somebody's under 18.
So this is interesting as well, is that if your kids are on social media, 3 to 10 seconds of them speaking on social media is enough for AI to have them calling you for help and screaming it and hanging up. So just be aware that those scams are there and to do the double check. Also, you have QR codes. QR codes are everywhere. And they're on parking meters, they're in restaurants, and people can paste up a fake QR code so that you can go into a different information and input your information into there. Even for parking meters and restaurant menus, putting your payment information in as well is a big one. So make sure that if you are doing QR codes, that the website you do go to is legitimate. And also there's not a weird sticky over the other QR code. I have seen those around, especially downtown where there's parking, like on parking kitty meters, there's another QR code posted above it. Just pay on the app. Any more input? So they lead to fake harvesting all the information they can get from you. They lead to that as well. So the psychology, going back there again, why do we fall for scams? And it's because of the urgency. But also, like thinking about news cycles and stuff like that, why do we fall for it? It's because we don't take the time, the moment, to double check, the pause, the break, the breath. That this has to be handled today, that this is the real information, that I have to, that I'm scared to, that I'm engaging with my, what's that called? Amygdala?
Oh, your executive function?
When you lose your executive function, it goes to fight or flight.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds right.
Sounds right.
Sounds right. Anyways, so when you engage,
We're not pausing and double checking.
I know. Sorry, everybody. You can flub me later, I guess. So you're not pausing to break for the double check, and it happens in left-leaning social media news outlets and right-leaning social media outlets. It is everywhere, and so helping to create that information better, just to pause. And if you are downtown or somewhere else and you feel like something is off, it probably is. Just leave it alone.
I keep thinking that all of this in my brain, I'm like, all of this should be illegal. And everyone that does not have these, like a news cycle, social media, or even a QR code creator or whatever, if you do not have like certain checks around that, or somebody needs to be held responsible, right? Like I keep thinking, who's being held responsible for all this? Where's the accountability of all this? Can't we have a Snopes approved, website where everyone has to like get Snopes approved?
Snopes is great.
Yeah, but that's not real. Like nobody has to get Snopes approved, and you don't have accountability around this. So that's the world we live in, is we don't live with those checks.
Other countries do have more safeguards than we do, though.
Correct, but we don't. And so,
but we don't.
Like
Australia just banned social media for everyone under 16.
Yeah.
That would be refreshing here.
Yeah.
And 16 is still very young. So trust, romance scams.
Oh.
Have I guess she still is kind of employed by us. Their grandmother got scammed into a romance scheme. They're still together, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. But just it put the family into this frenzy of trying to secure all their information and finances before this other romance scheme came forward.
Wow.
Romance schemes can even be on Facebook, that a stars, like a very prominent person will start talking to you that you think that that's them, and they'll start to show interest in you. And they said, well, maybe you should invest in my company then. And then they go into more, goodness.
I do think some things do work out, though. I mean, there are some, like my grandmother 2 years ago, I found out that she had a whole nother life and family I didn't know about.
Where is that connected? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's not a
I mean,
scam. That's
like
just a secret.
Somebody emailed me and told me, "Hey, I think
Oh.
I'm your grandmother's
But did they ask for
former
money
husband."
from?
No, but they asked for pictures and stuff. So
But
I mean, it felt a little weird, but then it all turned out.
But if they said, "Hey, I'm your old cousin,"
That's a true story, by the way. We can talk.
I'm your old cousin. I need 10 grand or whatever.
Right.
That is a different perspective. No one should be asking you for money, not face to face.
Or offering money. Sometimes that's a scam too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So AI is getting so good at certain things. Like people were all worried about art and pictures. Like this is going to replace all art and pictures. Now we're worried that AI is going to replace jobs and things like that. But AI is going to replace scams too, and we're going to get lots of AI.
They're not going to.
They are.
Yeah. Because people are having full-on conversations with AI bots on the phone.
Right. You can develop a relationship that leads to really sad situations. You can have a relationship with a AI personality. And so if you can have a relationship with an AI personality, you can be scammed certainly by that AI personality.
Deep fake videos. A multinational firm in 2024, I'm not sure who this is, but I looked it up. They lost millions of dollars after employees joined a video call with a deep fake CFO and leadership team, and they gave over financial information of the company.
Wow.
Oops. So it's even in your jobs. Everyone looked on that team. Everyone looked and sounded so real. I don't know how to check against that one because that's a pretty dang good one. But it just feels good. If that's the problem with scams, is it feels legitimate.
Yeah.
It feels real. But the ticker is the urgency of why do you need our bank account information on a Zoom call? Why do you need all that?
Well, fax, fax.
What?
Is the most secure, transmittable electronic way to transmit information is via fax. Think about that. How many of you have a fax machine at home, right? You have to go to the UPS store and pay your $10 or whatever to fax the documents. But we need to kind of get maybe a little more archaic and go manual on certain things. Going manual is not bad. And most institutions require you to do manual operations.
Yeah.
So if they're clued into certain scams,
I think the DMV just started taking card last year.
Yeah, they require manual paperwork and manual, you have to walk in with letters proving addresses, and you have to do things very manually. So if we're moving into more of an electronic world, that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to steer away from that, but maybe some of the things that require information and identity, we just kind of scale back and go manually.
Crypto scams right now are really big because who knows where the money is at. But also you have influencers that are creating their own Coinbase and then doing, the term I know is bad, so I won't say it. It's a carpet poll, I guess you'd call it, perhaps, where they... I know a different technology, a different term, but I don't want to say it.
It's called pump and dump. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they get all this cash in and they pull out their investment and they make the money. Somebody has done that 3 times. Other people are doing it constantly, but it is a federal crime. However, no one's being prosecuted for it right now.
Right.
Yeah, imagine that. So who is most vulnerable? Older adults are most vulnerable. Number 1, they'll pick up the phone. Number 2, they are in need of different tech support options, and also they have other federally known things like Medicare and Medicaid. And so the idea that older adults are the most vulnerable is is key. Small businesses are very vulnerable because of fake vendors and payroll redirects. So, like Kevin and Amanda posting up that all their passport information because we were told to. However, if we were a larger firm, there would be an accountant doing that for us and checking that, right?
An accountant check it.
You did. It's Randy's fault. Young adults, job offers. Does anyone get the LinkedIn texts?
Yeah.
I get them constantly. And it's hilarious, but no one wants me like that. The job offers, the crypto scams, and even the rental fraud. Rental fraud is a huge thing right now where people will put in applications, and most rental applications now come with a fee because of background and credit check. And they have fake websites on different apartment complexes that if you're not on the right website, then you'll pay that fee when you're putting your application in.
How about construction scams? Because that's a real one too. Windows, solar, roofing.
Yep.
All of that you can be scammed, not necessarily in like the product, but the price. Like a lot of that is elevated, or there's lots of layers on top of that price to get scammed with. I know somebody that spent $25,000 on a roof that was worth about 12. So that is that's real.
So also community groups and churches and stuff like that, fake donation requests.
Yes.
Make sure if you're ever giving to us, number one, we don't ask for money. We don't sit up here and give a what's it
plea.
What's
financial plea?
What is the
term? Yeah.
Stewardship meditation.
Yeah.
None of us is saying here and giving a talk about how we all should tithe. We're not that way. Number one. If you feel inclined to give, we have a safe website and an app. Make sure that you're giving on those sites. We will never, ever ask for your information one-on-one. Right. So if someone copies my voice, Kevin's voice, Amanda Sharea's voice, because my voice is out there, people will be able to copy my voice very easily. If we are ever calling you asking for money, not a thing.
Right.
Not a thing. Huh.
We should probably go to our next question.
That is that. Okay. So with all of that, scams are real. They're personal. That's what they rely on, is the personal experience that things feel real. It's not about intelligence. It's not about your wherewithal. It is just relational and trust. You want to go to the questions?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple minutes for questions.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We
Kelly,
are
you're completely in it the entire time.
Yeah, you're in the frame.
If I could introduce this,
Okay,
that
sure.
helps.
That
So
helps.
yes, remember Mr. Rogers, when you're in chaos, look for the helpers. His mom said to him, look for the helpers. And I think in this kind of moment in our history, we just need to continually look for the helpers, legitimate flesh and blood helpers.
I am the helper.
Right? You're the helper. Your bank can be the helpers. A financial institution that you do business with that knows who you are in your face can be your helper. There's different things. So when Amanda and I filled out this form and we turned in this form and all our identity was taken, we went to the bank and they walked us through a process of what to do, and they were our helpers. So we were safe because of that. So when you do get trapped, look for the helpers. So you're going to help us.
Can I say one thing to that too? That's also the point of living within your space, your context.
Yes.
Is that people know you.
Right.
And so you can walk into the bank and they know your face. You walk into the store and they know your face. They see your credit card and it's like, okay, why is Symposium buying all this money of furniture?
Right.
That's where if you live in your own context and space, it's just such a better lifestyle, safer.
All right.
Teach me how to clean all this up.
Okay. It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, but we're going to be okay. So we're going to talk about digital hygiene, which is a combination of resources and habits that are meant to help keep you safe in digital spaces, which then have an effect in our real world. So it's about protecting your data and information so that you're less vulnerable to scams, fraud, and other forms of exploitation. So we're going to start with some considerations around who might have your data and what could potentially be done with it. The most common thing that happens with our data is targeted ads. That's just the world that we live in.
Targeted asks.
Ads. Advertisement. Targeted advertisement. Everywhere from your music streaming to your social media to shopping sites, your behavior on the internet is used to feed you more ads. Target and other companies will assign every shopper a unique guest ID, and every time you make a purchase with a card, every time you visit their website, every time you fill out a survey, all of that information about your behavior is added to that guest ID. So they know your routines and your habits, and anytime that you make a purchase outside of your normal routine, that information gets noticed. It's most likely an opportunity to feed you more ads. But it can also pose a risk. So I'm guessing we've all probably heard the story from 2012 where Target supposedly knew that a high school girl was pregnant before her dad did because of the purchases that she was making. That story might not actually be true, but in the last 13 years, we've definitely developed the technology that makes that sort of thing possible and likely happening in states where access to abortion is restricted. Simple purchases could be putting people at risk. So while advertising is the most common thing that your data is used for, I need to take a breath. I'm talking too fast and not breathing. I have a lot of information to get through.
This whole talk is about taking a breath.
Yeah.
Right?
Pause.
So while advertising is the most common thing that your data is sold for, most of the companies that buy it are not very careful with your data. And that's where data breaches and leaks occur, and you end up with problems like having your credit card or identity stolen. I want to point out that part of the issue that it's not just about the potential risks that can happen with your data. The other part is surveillance. So even if nothing nefarious ever happens with your information or your purchasing history, are we okay with a corporation made up of people we've never met knowing intimate details about our purchases and routines? So even if you have nothing to hide, that normalizes that it's okay for these corporations to have that information about you. Corporations are also generally willing to work with law enforcement, so it's not a stretch to say that this kind of information allows the government to keep tabs on you when they want to. So that's just the reality that we live in right now. Another reason to practice good digital hygiene is to be in solidarity with others who are taking greater risks.
Because that kind of sounded conspiracy, but we do know that in certain states that do not have immigration sanctuary laws, that information is being shared. And so undocumented people are being tracked and followed, and patterns are being followed. So we do know that it is happening like in those situations. So it's not a stretch that that information, you were here, you were there, you are always here at this time, is a reality. Yeah. Just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah. And I am going to come back to that when we start talking about location services on your phone. Another reason to practice good digital hygiene is to be in solidarity with others who may be taking greater risks than we are. So, for example, I might not have anything to hide, so who cares who sees my data? But if the only people who are using an encrypted messaging service are those who are organizing against systemic racism, it makes their behavior look more suspicious. When we all use encrypted messaging, it's protective so that those folks don't stand out. So before we get into our best practices, we need to talk about threat modeling. And another phrase for this could be your personal risk assessment matrix. So Jake, if you would pop that photo on the screen. Navigating digital security is a dance between convenience and security. Assessing your own personal risk and the likelihood of different scenarios will help you make more informed choices about your digital security. So consider, for example, if you have some health concerns and you want to look up information. Think about the browser that you're using, the data you'd be sharing when you search, and how that could impact you down the road. Or think about the topics that you're willing to text about with people that you know. Is there information in your conversations that could be embarrassing or harmful if it were shared publicly or with the wrong person? What's the likelihood of that happening? Behavior that is low risk to you could be higher risk for someone else. And so that's why it's helpful to think through our personal risk matrix. So best practices. There are a lot of options and a lot of new things. So if you get intimidated, maybe consider one or two things that you can put into practice this week. Jot down some notes so that you remember what you want to do. And then maybe revisit this recording in a month or two and try something else. For each of the practices or services, go through your own personal risk assessment matrix and see what makes the most sense for you. Also consider how your personal digital security may make things safer for other people too.
Can you make that graph or that chart, can you put that under our podcast as an image?
I can't do that, but Jake could.
Who owns that image?
I don't know, but it's in my notes, so I can.
We could probably get it up there.
We'll get there.
People are taking pictures of it. So
It's there.
Okay.
And also just to help level the playing field, I'm not an expert. If you come up to me afterwards, I might know things that I might not. Some of these things I've been doing for years. Some of them I am in the process of adopting. Some of them I haven't tried yet. So we're all learning. We're all growing. I don't know everything, but I know some things. And all of you in this room don't know everything, but you know some things. So together we can help keep each other safe.
At least hit 90%.
Yeah. First thing, and this is kind of old news, but maybe it didn't get to you. If you are a person who menstruates, stop using period tracking apps. That data can easily be handed over to police, and that puts people at risk in states where abortion access is restricted. So if you're fine, if you think you're fine because you live in a state where abortion, you have full access, just remember that may not always be the case. So consider your menstrual cycle to be private medical information from here on out, and don't share that where you don't need to.
Interesting. Of course, I'm a male, so I don't, think in those realms, but that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that data can be handed over, and that can put people at risk. Turn off location services on your phone whenever you can. There's a lot of apps on your phone that will try to access location services. That's the thing that allows you to search whatever near me. Shopping apps especially will try to get that data so that it can send you more targeted ads. But think about what apps need that information. Some don't need it at all. You might just allow while you're using the app. The weather app, for example. I like to have location services so that I can check the weather where I am, but it doesn't need to be on in the background all the time. For something like Find My Phone, it's probably best to have that on all the time because the greater risk is your phone being stolen and you want to track it down later.
There is something you can do though on socials where this is a
turn off your location on socials.
Minors issue, but also an adult issue too, is when you post something online, a lot of times it puts the location. To turn that off is really important. To not include your location.
And then we talked about this in our conversation with A Village for One, but also when you take a photo, the location metadata is stored on that photo's information. So if you share that photo online, someone can look at the photo's information and potentially get your location. So turn that off also. If you don't know how to do it, do an internet search for how to turn off photo location data on iPhone 16 or whatever it is you have. Even with location services off, your phone will still ping cell towers that it comes into the range of. And that information can be used by law enforcement to find out where you've been. It's not generally information that they're following all the time. Like that's a lot of stuff to monitor. They don't have the staff for that. But it is information that they can access if they choose to. ICE uses what are called Stingray devices that function like a cell tower. It gets those cell phone pings to track individuals that they're watching. So that's kind of what you were talking about. So really the safest choice to not be tracked is to leave your phone at home. That's why people say to leave your phone at home when you go to a protest. For most of us, this doesn't make sense. It's probably safer for most of us to have our phone on us so that we have a way to call 911 in our pocket. So it's more a matter of just being aware what is possible and then making the safest choice that we can. Also advocating for policies that strengthen our right to privacy is a really important thing. Just assume that your phone is listening when it's close by.
It was.
Right. Like we've probably all had that thing where we were talking about something and then all of a sudden we start getting ads for it. Your phone has a microphone. That's what allows you to talk to people on the phone. But it is possible for that microphone to be used when you aren't aware. Is it likely? Depends on the person. If you have Siri or whatever the phone assistant is voice activated, your phone is listening. Can it listen when it's turned off? Maybe. Find My Phone location services does still work when your phone is turned off. So it's possible. Is it likely? It depends on your behavior. Someone who's organizing against systemic racism is more likely to be tracked than someone who isn't. And that's just the reality of the situation and part of our own personal risk assessment matrix. Encrypted messaging services. So end-to-end encrypted messaging means that any messages, calls, files, and other data can only be read or accessed by the intended recipients. So from the sender at one end to the receiver at the other end, it's encrypted. If that message were to be intercepted on its way, it's all scrambled, so the person who intercepted it would not be able to read it. Now, if somebody has hacked into your device, they're on one end, so they would be able to read it. That's a separate problem. iMessage is end-to-end encrypted, so that means when it's sent to another iMessage account, if you get a blue bubble, it is encrypted. Green bubbles are not. Another, like a side note, Apple's security is more part of the hardware, whereas Android's is more part of the software. So in general, iPhones are more secure, but nothing is 100%. Apple has made the claim that it doesn't have access to your messages, but the key for decrypting it is part of the iCloud backup. I don't fully understand how it works. This was like a real quick internet search yesterday, so I'm not an expert, but basically Apple can access encrypted messages if they want to. And they can and will hand that information over to law enforcement.
They own all that data.
Yes. The only way for them to not be able to access it is to have your iCloud backup turned off. And again, for most of us, it's more likely that our phone is going to be stolen, and it's important to have the backup turned on.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, only under subpoena. Correct. Google Messages on Android works similarly to where it's encrypted, but only if the other person is using Google Messages. WhatsApp is not encrypted at all. So I would like to recommend Signal. That is an end-to-end encrypted messaging app, and it stays encrypted as long as everyone is using Signal. As we learned in the news, the danger with that is you want to make sure that you have the right recipients added in your group chat.
Although they did change the law with Signal.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
That's news to me.
Yes. So
Okay.
So our immigration team no longer uses Signal.
Oh.
So yeah. So it can
No.
be accessed if like we're charged with something, that could be turned over.
Okay, that's new information to me. What I learned was that Signal doesn't have access to the decryption. They do now?
It can be turned over. Yeah.
We cannot be 100% secure. We do the best we can with what we have. On any messaging app, consider setting it to disappearing messages or to have the messages delete after a certain length of time. This helps keep information private, and it also opens up your storage space. Right. Internet browsers track and store your search history. Again, this can be a really convenient thing because over time you get search results that are better tailored to what you're actually looking for. That information can still be bought and sold. ICE is one of the entities that will buy this information in order to surveil and track people. There are a few browsers that offer various elements of privacy. I've been using DuckDuckGo for a while, and it works fine. It's an incognito browser, so that means that it's not supposed to save cookies or browsing history or form entries once the window's been closed. That's kind of the part of the deal with me. I have like 400 tabs open, so all of those cookies are still active. But DuckDuckGo, right.
Them and
That's right.
Back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's my backup brain. It does block trackers that track your behavior or other form answers on a given web page. It isn't perfect and it doesn't block everything, but it's more secure than browsers like Safari or Chrome. There are other browsers that offer varying levels of privacy and usability. I'm not an expert, but there's probably a person in your life who knows more than I do.
Safari does have the option to stop trackers and targeted
advertisement,
and on your iPhone is your advertising ID that you can reset.
Okay.
And so if you reset that often, then you're there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm getting the time signal, and also I have like 5 pages. So how do we want to manage that?
Let's
summarize it. Okay. Be smart about what you post on social media and what you say on the internet. Set your accounts to private. Talk to people before you share information or photos about them.
And also know that is permanent information. Like if you leave it up there, people capture that and then put it on their websites and kind of dox you that way. I mean, we were doxed that way by a hate group from a private message thread that he was having with an individual that he knew.
I ran my mouth and then got in trouble.
Delete old accounts that you don't use anymore.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us do have iPhones. Adam just shared this. If you want to check it out, do you want to give a summary, Adam?
Advanced data protection mode that restricts the end-to-end encryption for all your iCloud data, so they can't access it.
Okay.
Great.
Advanced data protection. It makes the end-to-end encryption more secure so that they can't access it. Your appliances don't need to be connected to the internet. Don't do it. Things with microphones are listening, especially if you have like an Alexa that's meant to be listening all the time. Don't do it. Robot vacuums have cameras to help them navigate the space. If they're also connected to the internet, that's a point of vulnerability. Use two-factor identification security because that's an added security measure. Don't recycle your passwords. Use a password manager. Avoid biometrics whenever possible. This is a shtick for me. On your phone, consider not using facial recognition or fingerprint. If you were to be detained, all the police has to do is hold up your phone to your face and they can unlock it without a warrant. So that's not very secure. There are shortcuts you can do that, like you hit 2 buttons and it turns off biometrics. That's a great option to balance security and convenience. At the airport, it's still optional to use facial recognition through TSA. Don't give out your biometric data. It's not necessary.
They also...
At the grocery store.
Immigration recommends that all people that are at risk of being detained should turn off biometrics on their devices.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the grocery store, a lot of these stores use cameras for facial recognition. They say it's to prevent shoplifting. I don't personally trust them.
Right.
That's the big stuff.
It's too technologically advanced to... Because we thought that everything was secure before when we would swipe our credit cards. Our credit cards are stolen. Then at what point are we going to have fraud and scams on biometrics?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the mark of the beast. It's not the end of the world. Jesus is not coming back because of it. You know, all that. It's just, it can be scammed and taken. Yeah.
Check your bank account and credit card statements regularly for any abnormalities. That helps you catch stuff early. Consider keeping your credit frozen until you're ready to do something that requires a report. With the FDIC weakened by the Doge layoffs, there's fewer safeguards in place to protect us from fraud.
It's very true.
Don't click on links you don't recognize. If you get a message you think is a scam, copy it into a search engine and see what comes up. Ask someone else who might have experience. Don't answer your phone if you don't recognize the number.
Couple of things that we have done because of things that we've been trapped in. All our credit is frozen, and you can freeze your credit. And then when you go to the bank to do something new, you unfreeze it for 24 hours and then refreeze it. There's other things
it instantly becomes unfrozen and frozen. So there is no waiting period.
Your accounts, if you're an older person, consider putting your children on your accounts and maybe even say where there needs to be a double signature on like the big accounts, that there needs to be a dual signature plan for larger accounts with more cash in them. That could be an option for elderly, but also for couples that just need that protection, that it has to be an in there.
And it just helps the slow the process down.
Slow the process down. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Shreya.
Yeah.
All right. That was a lot.
It was a lot.
Well, let's just take 2 more minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll just close it down. So take a couple more minutes for the questions.
And then we'll go straight to end. And so,
yeah,
have a
that'd
week,
be
everybody.
great.